So glad you could join us again. We are, as always, with Greg Engert, beer director for the Neighborhood Restaurant Group, Food and Wine Sommelier of the Year. The group includes where we are, the newest location for the NRG, the Neighborhood Restaurant Group, Owen's Ordinary in North Bethesda. And, of course, you've also got down in Penn Quarter, Red Apron, and the Partisan. Greg, it is always good to see you.
You too.
What is on? Oh, and I wanted to say before we continued, because I didn't mention last week, Owen's Ordinary is very close to the White Flint Metro Station. Like a, what is it, a 6-minute walk? Is that?
Yeah, that's it.
So
yeah.
Don't bring your car.
I think a lot of that's the thing. People think of Maryland as like, oh, you know, like very suburban or something, but it's very, where we are in the Pike and Rose complex, super metro accessible, really cool.
People love bashing Metro's red line these days. I don't usually have a problem, but of course I'm not commuting in the regular time.
No, it's
so
it's
anyway.
good. It's good.
What's on tap this
Very
week?
special treat this week. We have, you know, so at Owen's Ordinary, we have, you know, over 200 different beers on draft, tap, bottle, and can, with a very special interest in the Maryland craft brewing scene, which has always been great. I mean, going back to Brewer's Art, Wharf Rat, which is Pratt Street Ale House, and now Oliver's, and Heavy Seas, which was, you know, Clipper City once upon a time, if you can believe that. But, you know, if I thought of that,
I drank a lot of their beer back in the day.
So they've always been some great breweries.
Good beer.
And then it's just gotten better recently. More and more breweries are opening up. We talked about Denizens last week from 2014. Doing it again this week. Jailbreak Brewing Company from Laurel, Maryland. They started conceptualizing in 13, opened in 14. And they're making a name for themselves. They're expanding, they're growing, but they have some really cool rare beers. My friend Justin Bonner, who's the owner, has been kind enough to let us serve some of these here at Owen's Ordinary, and we're starting with this one today. This is called Dusk Till Dusk, a very rare beer. You'll see it at select shops and restaurants, bars, and at the brewery itself. This is a blend of barrel-aged imperial stouts. So it clocks in probably over 13% alcohol, so caveat emptor, but let's take a little...
let's say cheers in case we never see each other again.
Lots of really delicious, dried, like figgy, toasted nuttiness there, plum, prune, raisin, cedar.
Boy, they did a nice job on that, didn't they?
Dark chocolate. You'll notice on the label.
Do you want to tell me about the label?
Yeah, it shows Dusk Till Dusk is what it's called. So it's got, you know, Dracula.
Close up later.
But Dracula is about to sink his teeth into a gooseneck. So I think it's a not too veiled reference to Goose Island and Bourbon County Stout. And it's trying to be, you know, it's really more of an homage to Bourbon County Stout, I think. But a local version that stands up. So huge beer, really rich on the palate. The way they make this, so they make a beer called Dusk Till Dawn, which is an espresso cocoa nib imperial stout, about 10%. Some of it's aged in bourbon barrels and released, and some of it's just released on its own. But they've got some of that in bourbon and rum barrels. Then they make an even stronger beer of 13% with no espresso, but still has the cocoa nibs, and they put that in bourbon and rum barrels. And then when they come time to make Dusk Till Dusk, they just taste lots and lots of barrels. So this vintage ended up being 8 different barrels, some bourbon, some rum, that have held this two different imperial stouts for up to 6 to 18 months, all blended nicely together, and then this is what you get. What
would you pair it with?
I mean, this is, you know, dessert in a glass. Obviously, you could do it with all sorts of desserts and things like that, but I love it with big cheeses and anything cheesy. So, like, if you got a grilled ham and cheese with some like kind of like aged Emmentaler, that would be killer. Some really rich macaroni and cheese. I think all things bacon. I often talk about doing this at brunch, you know, think about maple syrup, how that would play in, French toast, pancakes, sausage links. I think it'd be fantastic. And then you can go all the way in on your grilled meats with lamb and ribeyes and ducks and all sorts of things. It'd be great. Goose, maybe.
Well, if goose only tasted well, we wouldn't, or good, we wouldn't have all the Canada geese here. That is a great beer for Sunday mornings when you're pretty sure your favorite football team is going to lose.
Lose, right, exactly. And hopefully at 1 p.m. because you're not going to make it till 4. Right. That's right.
Excellent. Greg, thank you as always.
Thanks, bud.
Everyone, all joking aside, please always be sure to drink responsibly and bring your thirst next time for another beer of the week.